Hello, everybody. This is Doaa Darwish. I'll be happy to host you in our webinar today. And a quick, introduction of my background. About my background, it's like I've been in the training industry since 15 years so far. I've been a project management professional since 2004, certified corporate trainer, certified business professional, and lately I've joined the Forbes Coaches Council. And above all, I truly love and I have pride in our business and what we do in terms of serving you as trainers and coaches. So that's why we're here today. I'm here today to show you what we're offering you in terms of our signature product, the presentation kits that we're offering you. Why we introduced presentation kits, because when we started this business back in 2013, we realized that trainers did have challenges while they were preparing for their courses, and most of all, they had trouble in spending, the right time and money and effort in coming up with the course designs to keep these courses engaging to people, to their audience. And this is why we came up with the kits that we're offering here. We saw that the rest of the providers in the market offered hilarious prices. They were astronomical prices for moderately good to actually good or excellent content, but the prices were astronomical, and these weren't very helpful for you guys. So what we thought is that we wanted to offer you great value products with very economic prices, and in the same time, not just this, we wanted to offer you content which is quite flexible, had variety, was simple, and most of all, content which is going to help you accommodate your clients' needs. That's practical, they can apply to their jobs, and that's very doable. So the point is that you don't want your clients to just, it's not about teaching. You don't want your clients to walk away listening to a lot of information and forget all of this information in 3 days. You want them to use the material that you're offering them, and do stuff with the material that you're offering them. So that's exactly what we were really interested in to offer you. The people who were developing the products, the presentation kits, were coming from variable backgrounds, mostly from the US, UK, coming from project management backgrounds, coming from life coaching backgrounds. Some of them had psychology backgrounds. Some of them came from the Far East, India, and some of them in the Middle East. So offering you a lot of cultural, experiences, so as to be able to relate and create impact to your audiences and surprise them with what they can offer actually. So that's an introduction about why we came up with these presentations. If you can see my screen here, let me just check if anybody has any questions so far. So yeah, all right, no questions so far. So if you have any questions, just feel free to pop in and just ask me anything. So back here at the presentations that we were offering, the topics that we decided to start with were the really hot topics in the market. We knew these were hot topics because we were engaging with trainers all the time on training platforms, on LinkedIn platforms, through blogs. We were reading statistics, researching, the latest researches in the training industry, and we realized that the most topics on demand were topics like leadership, so 50 golden rules for leading teams, project management, mentor training, anger management, and tools to get work done on time management, influencing others. Yeah, a sales presentation, 50 ways to be $1 million salesman. That's a big one. And exceptional customer service. Customer service was a big issue for some of the trainers. And lately, the tactics for performance enhancement. Of course, like we have more coming, through in the pipeline, but like these were the real hot topics that we were really keen to, bring in to our store, because you were, based on your demand and based on your, requests and people's discussions, like these were the really, hot topics. So jumping into the presentations themselves to see how we came up with these presentations, we were very keen to add content that's very engaging. Each presentation of these is like a combo of, so let's go to the presentation itself. So here we are. Let's go to 50, for example, golden rules for leading teams. This is how the presentation itself looks like. Each presentation is a combo of information, and then calls for action, and we add to the presentation, as you can see here, like here's the introduction. Here's like a, I don't know if that's loading. Can anybody tell me if yeah, they can see the presentations here? So I just want to make sure that you can see my screen. Is it like, can you see the screen where the presentations are? So here they are, 50. So here's the presentation itself. And you can see, like, this is an introduction. This is like a customizable agenda, so you can add in your own, topics that you want to talk about at your own pace. And then, like, this is like a summary of the training topics. And like, this is standard for all of the presentations. Then you start like an introduction. Usually the introduction is like 30 slides or so. It's like a 1 day. It's like a 3-hour training session. And as you can see, the presentation has a mix of charts, jokes, famous quotes, drills, or like activities, as you can see, for example, here. So like after each topic is discussed, or after, for example, introduction is discussed, you can see, you can offer your crowd an activity that will show them, that will walk them through a specific skill that you want to make sure they did grasp. So you will have in the standard presentation, you have 5 of these for free, like 5 games, or maybe 3 games, 2 icebreakers, maybe 2 games, 2 tests, 1 case study. It's like a mix of activities. I'm gonna tell you more about the activities in a bit. So you have free, free activities like embedded into the presentation. And then the body of the presentation itself is all about like calls for action. It's not just information. It's calls for action supported with information that's going to help your trainees understand why they need to make these calls for action, steps they actually need to take in order to, acquire the skill. In that case, for example, leadership skill. So you can see here calls for actions, and then all of these calls for actions are supported with examples, case studies, charts, statistics, research, and so on. Techniques how to do these calls for actions that will help them. And then you can also see towards the end of the presentation the resources that we have for each presentation. Most of the resources and references that we've used for this presentation. The nice part for you as a coach or trainer is that we also offer you with each presentation a trainer's guide. So for example, let's have a look at the trainer's guide for the 50 golden rules for leading teams. Here it is. I've got all of the presentations open, of course, just in case anybody wanted to ask me anything about any other presentation, if they wanted to have a look at other presentations as well. So let's see, where are we? Here we are. So that's, for example, the trainer's guide for 50 golden rules for leading teams. And as you can see, like, what is that about? It's like, gives you a set of tips, very, very important tips on how to keep your training interactive, like ground rules that you want to set for your participants, like a guide to use your games, your icebreakers, or your tests. And then, oops, and then it takes you point by point. You know, like this is like, yeah, some more tips on how to set your classroom, you know, depending on the number of trainers, because like these presentations are fit for small to large groups. So yeah, some suggestions on how you will, you know, seat your audience, some suggestions, some tips on how to manage the group movement, technical tips and so on. And then you jump to tips on the points in the presentation so you can actually map. So here's, for example, about slide 24. And if you go here to the presentation itself, on slide 24, you will find tips on this specific slide, meaning that while we were developing this slide, for example, it's talking about leadership models, we expected that you may need more information about this and you want to talk more out of your, you know, top of mind. So we added to you some information here. To give you more information, more references, more theories to back you up with information. All right, so, and that goes all throughout the presentation, specifically with the points which need more illustration for you as a trainer. And also the trainer's guide has got all of the activities that are in the presentation. By activities, just let me clarify, I mean games, or icebreakers, or tests, or case studies, because we offer these intrinsically in the presentation too, and we offer them separately, as I'll explain in a minute. So yeah, all of these are like, you know, we're just illustrating on points, just in case you need to, you know, back yourself up with more information, more statistics, and so on. Trainer's guide is usually like from 30 to 40 pages with all of this information. This is like, yeah, this is one of the tests, and of course you will have the key for the test, which is like the solution. And if it's a game, you will have like tips on how to make this game like really, you know, like make a good impact on the people you're training. So here we go. That's till the end, and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is one of the games with, you know, some of the images that will help make people more engaged. We will also offer you in the presentation kit combo a trainer's guide, a learner's booklet, which means you have something to, you know, hand over to people, to your audience. And the trainer's book and the learner's booklet is going to be like that one. Let me just show you. Here we go, learner's booklet for leadership. So yeah, here we are. So that's something that you're free to choose whether you want to give them as handouts to your trainees or not. So it has the course outline, and you've got like flyers for all of the presentations. And like, if you like, you can access these flyers on our website, trainersbox.net, or you can just send me an email to admin@trainersbox.net, and I'm going to just send them to you right away, links with the flyers on the course that you're interested in. So like these are the 50 points. Each presentation is composed of 50 points, 50 calls to actions, and 50, or like you can say 50 steps. And the thing is about the learners booklet, the one that you're going to hand out if you like to your trainees, it's going to have the most important charts that you think the trainees will need to go home with, so to take back to their offices or to go back home with. And like, for example, in this presentation, these were the ones which were really, you know, comprehensive. Maybe they will not be able to grasp it just from the slide. Maybe they need to take like a reference to it home, and that's like how we choose the charts that you hand out to your trainees. So let me see if anybody has any questions so far. So here we go. All right, let's just have a quick look at the chat box here. Okay, any questions, anybody so far? All right, no questions. So, so as you see, like these are things that you will find in the learners booklet. If you go back here, you will also find in the learners booklet all of the questions, all of the games with the instructions, not with the solutions, that you want to hand out to your audience. For example, this is a test, and this is an assessment, and that's in the leadership presentation. This is a Myers-Briggs assessment, very interestingly, and this is an example. Oh yeah, they just take it in, and you just choose the time they want to do the assessment in, and you'll find all of the games, all of the activities also handed out with the instructions that this is like a game. It's called Utopia, and I'm going to make sure to make other webinars that's going to walk you through each and every category of the activities, because I'm sure people would want to have a look at the activities. So like this is another game, and so on. This is like the learner's booklet. So this is the combo that I was mentioning to you. It's like a presentation kit that's composed of 200 slides. That's standard for all of the presentations. The trainer's guide and the learner's booklet. So the nice thing about the presentation kit, the learner's guide, three of them, the learner's guide and the trainer's guide, is that you can rebrand them. You can add your own brand to them. You can customize them based on the time that you have for the training, the type of audience, the style of the audience. You can add in whatever more games that you need to add. I'm going to show you how, like in a minute. You can print it, of course. They're all printable and they're money back guaranteed. So if you have any trouble, or if you find that you've purchased any presentation kit where we have overpromised and not delivered, you know, the value that we've promised, you can just, like, you know, tell us, hey, I don't want to buy this, give me my money back. So, and that's like that has very rarely happened, which is like a good sign. But you still have that option always. So the presentations that we offer, this is like a live example. This is a live walkthrough for the kind of content that we're offering you. The standard content for each presentation kit, it's 200 slides composed of 50 steps or 50 techniques or 50 methodologies, 50 calls for action, a trainer's guide, a learner's booklet, and you will have the flyer there for free on the internet to see the topics in each presentation. And I'll be happy to, if you like, you just let me know, to compare the value that we're offering you, the content in each presentation, with the content offered at the competing websites that you may look into as well, and compare to the content, the value added, the pricing, and anything that you would like me to compare. If you really think that you would be interested in this, just let me know. I'll be happy to dedicate a webinar, a special webinar walking you through all of this, because we've been scanning the market all the way through to see, and we've been purchasing stuff to see what they're offering and comparing it to ours and to make sure that we're ahead of them. We'll also be offering a recording of this webinar, and we'll show you some of the testimonials that we've had. And the nice thing is that most of the people were really surprised by the value that they were offered in the presentation kits in comparison to their prices. Because like, you won't believe it, like, we're offering presentations at maybe 10% of the prices offered off at other competitors. So, and that's exactly specifically why we're offering webinars, to walk you through the material, because people so underestimate what we're offering just because we're offering great prices. So that's about it. I'm wrapping up, and I'd be happy to take any of your questions, or if you have a special request, if you'd like anybody out of our team, customer excellence team, to call you, walk you through a special presentation or like a specific presentation kit, just send to me your information in the chat box, and I'll be happy to work on this. Within 24 hours, you're going to be finding somebody calling you, reaching out for you, answering your, walking you through. Or if you have any questions for me right now, go ahead, please, and like type them in. Yep. So, any questions on the presentation kit so far? All right. So great. I'll be wrapping up, and I hope this webinar was useful to you. And just let me know if you have any questions. My email is admin@trainersbox.net. And I've actually just unmuted all the participants, so anybody wants to call out and like ask a question, it's unmuted. Our website is trainersbox.net. The presentations sheet is, you just type in /presentations.html, as you can see here on top. And we'll be sending off a recording of this presentation, hoping to have like answered some of the questions you had in mind, waiting for any other questions you still have in mind. And hope you a great 2018 with fabulous results with your audiences. Doaa Darwish has been speaking, and see you in the next webinar.